Safa Radio bringing home to you.
We are privileged to have a Wallaby talking to us here on Safa Radio. Greg Martin Marto, very welcome here to Safa Radio.
Kevin, thank you very much, mate. Always fond memories of South Africa and thinking of going back there this Christmas time.
You have 9 Wallaby caps. You played for the Reds 65 times. You were one of the players that did go to South Africa in 89. Bob Templeton was the coach. The Aussie coach was the coach of the World 15. Why did you go?
In that year, 1989, between sevens and playing for the Wallabies in Queensland, I played in 29 different countries. I was at the stage, and I'll give you some context. My whole aim in life was to play for the Wallabies before I was 21. It was the 84 tour. Roger Gill was away, picked for the Wallabies, and I did my knee. And it took me until 1987 to get picked back in the Wallaby reserves. So I'd missed so much of my rugby career with this ACL. I could have been the backup fullback behind Roger because I was the number one fullback at the start of 1984. Could have been the backup fullback on that wonderful Grand Slam tour. And I'd missed from there. I didn't start playing for Queensland again until 86. So in those days, a serious knee operation took a year and a half before you could play again. So to take me so long, when I finished playing, because I had to wait until I was 26 to finally get on the field. There were no throwing you on. I think I was reserved for 7 or 8 tests before I got on the field. Just didn't get on. There was no injuries. So when I finally got a chance against the British Lions in 1989, was it 89 the tour to South Africa or 90? No, 89, yeah.
89.
Mate, I didn't have a job because I was training like a professional, but there was no money. So it was a real big changing year of my life. I finally played my first test, scored 2 tries against the Lions. Everything was going hunky-dory. And then there'd been discussions back in 87, the whole Wallaby team was going to go. And we had this large meeting, I'll never forget it, at Andrew Slack's house in suburban Brisbane. We were always interested. We always were, because, of course, the All Blacks, who a lot of them were mates of ours, they'd been in, God, when did they go? It was 86. 86. You with?
Yeah, right, the Cavaliers.
The Cavaliers tour, and a lot of those guys on Meg Stead and stuff were close friends. So we were very interested, and they all went, "Wow, this place, it's unreal. As South Africa is the best place for rugby. It's everything." So finally, when the opportunity came in 1989, I went, "Shit, yeah!" And I wasn't working, and my wife sitting here next to me, she remembers it. So we were in early years, and she just said, "Yeah, let's go." Because they flew girlfriends over there as well to celebrate the centenary.
You lost the first test at the iconic Newlands by 1 point, 20 to 19. What is your memories of Newlands?
Right, let's go through Newlands. It was awesome. Mate, we didn't have stadiums like that in Australia, like dedicated rectangular stadiums. We were playing at Sydney Cricket Ground. It must have been that year or the year before. We did get a football stadium, but it was nothing like the legendary Newlands. You got to realise we weren't scared of any of the guys until we saw how big they were. Physically, they were so much more imposing because I think they'd been training as professionals for a long time, whereas we were dead set amateurs who were just having a real go, trying to find some methods. Where the South Africans are so professional, but Newlands, incredible, mate. Because I was a cricket tragic as well, so I knew the history of it from cricket, from rugby. We didn't know who your players were, but we knew the history of South African rugby, and it was awesome, and the links and the stories. If you're a rugby person in Australia, you know South Africa. So it was just where it was, mate. Cape Town's just an amazing place. I've been back 3 times since then. I think it's the most amazing city. The game itself, I think I was goal kicker. I think you'll find I kicked a few. Cats would I have? Yeah. I think I kicked 3. And I wasn't even kicker for Australia because from the age of 15, I'd have been in the same team as Michael Liner all the way along. And shit, the bloke who was the world record point scorer wasn't giving me a kick. That was at schoolboys. We played against each other at school, and then we were mates ever since. And then with club, and then with Queensland and Australia. So I never got a goal kick. And the other fullback in that World 15 squad was Paul Thorburn, who you might remember holds the record. Have a look on YouTube. 62-metre penalty goal he kicked for Wales. I loved the balls, the leather balls. What were they? The Springbok brand?
Springbok, yeah.
magnificent, mate. The leather on them was so much more pure than the leather football. So being a fullback, I love kicking. We met some great people and had a funny old time. And, rugby tour, our girlfriends and wives all came as well. And they stayed in, if there was for the two test matches. How many we played? 2 test matches.
Yeah.
They stayed in hotels. But otherwise, it was like we were having a holiday while playing rugby against the greatest team on earth. It was extraordinary, Kevin.
All right, let me take you to the second test. The Springboks won 22-16. Now, we talk about Brisbane. Suncorp is a fortress. Auckland, Eden Park is obviously a fortress. 50 tests, they haven't lost there. People talk about Ellis Park as a hostile environment.
I reckon it was amazing. I'd never played in front of that many people before. It's an intimidating sort of place because it's just so big, and we'd never seen a stadium. That's what impressed me again in the 95 World Cup. I'd forgotten how big it was. I reckon Naas Botha, we were always just behind, but we matched them pretty well. But I think Naas took an intercept, and because I remember turning and chasing, I was completely body weight going that way. He's taken an intercept and taken off, and I thought I was going to catch the bastard. I reckon I had... Do you remember any of this, Kath? I don't know if my wife does, but I had 40 metres to get him. I didn't realise he was too quick for me in the end. So, and that was sort of, I think we must have been so far behind we weren't going to win. But until that, we were in the game. And again, I was goal kicking, and like any goal kicker who's quick for the first time at Ellis Park, will go, holy shit, that was good.
I'm going to take you back to 89.
Australia trying to wheel it round past the 90. Jones, Andrew looking for the equaliser. Goulet almost charging down, but he put the pressure on. That was important. And now Campese and Evans. Oh, this is terrible stuff. It's a try. Well, what a mortal blow for the Australians. The less said about that, the better. David Campese knows he's made a horrible mistake here, and the Lions have hit the lead.
Well, the only way the Lions were going to get back in this match was by some Australian mistakes. And this is the classic shocker. David Campese had to dot that ball down. He was out on his own. He started the run. Greg Martin went in support without really wanting the ball, lost it ahead, and the unthinkable has happened. Look at this. You don't do this on your own line. You don't wear a green and gold jersey to pull out that sort of Mickey Mouse rugby.
All it would have taken was to dot the ball down. One of my jobs as fullback was to just clean up some of Campo's messes because he wasn't great under the high ball, and that was one of my fortes. And the British Lions, what do? Put up a shitload of bombs. So that was one of my jobs, and everything had been going well. On the first and second test, there were a couple of mix-ups, and Jeremy Guskett got the better of us out wide, and there was a lot of fighting. Anyway, it was a tough test, that second test that we lost at Ballymore. Campo may watch this. I don't think he could care about what I think, but he should have put the ball down. I think that's quite clear. And we go straight to a 22, and we boot the shit out of the ball, put the pressure back on the British Lions. Like, they'll start getting twitchy due to scoreboard pressure soon. But Campo being Campo, and he didn't score that many tries in Test rugby by not being ambitious. Fuck, if we had our time again, mate, he would just take off. There was only up ahead of us. So I went round the outside just in case, because with Campo, and you train with him, so you know he can do anything and will do anything, and he's very good at throwing a dummy. He always has been. And he should have, for some reason, he threw it. It wasn't even a true double pump. It was just this strange thing that just kept going. Time stood still, mate. And if you had a video referee, I don't know whether he scored the try, but it went so far behind me. If it touched, I was turning that way, turning in. If it touched the fingers, and I have pretty good hands. I was a tennis player and stuff. So I always go, if I could get a little bit of grip on a footy, I could bring it in. No way in the world. It must have touched right on the ends, went to ground, and I reckon I dived back trying to get in front of Ian Evans. And, of course, the referee just straight away went, yeah, try. There's no video referee and stuff. If you go back now, it's bloody close. But it doesn't matter. Like, we just stood there. It was horrible. And if I was a bit more mature, I would have said something. But I was only, I'd only been in the squad for 2 years and only played three run-on tests. It wasn't my spot to cheer Campo up after the game. It was pretty sad, mate, because we realised we had the chance to be the first Wallaby team to beat the the lines, and we'd blown it, and it was mainly because of Campo's moment of madness, and he must have felt shit house. And I kind of look back and go, he was sort of isolated. The team sort of isolated him at that time, but maybe I'm overreading it. Mate. There was a fair bit of emotion in the dressing room after the game.
You mentioned TMO, and there wasn't one. There's two things I looked at. I don't think the ref was in the best position, but it also, Ewan Evans gave you a nudge, played you without the ball. And then the second thing, in your mind, because if you look closely, it's almost like, did you dot it down before him? And I go, man, a TMO might have said penalty Wallabies, or might have been dead.
But that wasn't the game. It was, the game was, the referee just loved making big decisions, especially charismatic French referee.
On paper, this is a very, very good Lions team. And I think if they don't win the Test Series 3-0, it would be a massive disappointment. What do you think? Is it going to be 3-0?
Most likely, but that's why we play sport, because we don't know the result. They don't play a lot against us, so the Australian style. I don't know. I don't think we've got much hope, to tell you the truth, Kevin. But miracles happen, and I think that's what we've got to rely on.
Greg Martin, it is absolutely brilliant for you taking time to speak to us, SAFA Radio, to all the SAFAs. We love rugby, and the fact that you loved South Africa touring there. Thank you so much for having a chat with us.
Yeah, if anyone gets onto accommodation in Jeffreys Bay just before Christmas this year, give us a yell.
Well, okay, I'll give you a yell. We're going to be there 29, 30, 31st, and the 1st of December. So
I reckon my son and I, fishing, well, he's a surfer, we're both fishermen, trying to go up from Cape Town to Durban, or maybe just to J Bay, we'll see. So
just stay out of the water, the great whites love you Aussies.
Oh no, the surface here.
All right, thank you for chatting, and thank you for taking the time.
Cheers, mate. Speak soon.
SAFA Radio, bringing home to you.
SAFA Radio bring huis tuis.